Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. It only took all of 2021 to date, but Filip Hrgovic has finally got a fight. But unfortunately for him, it's not a good one, but it does represent some activity. But his opponent, Marko Radonjic, so see here, this is the promo post. I'll quickly go through this press release and then to a few thoughts, because this is Lovejoy-Esque in terms of Marko Radonjic's record. So Hrgovic, he's going to beat a guy who's got a record built and padded for a payday. But really, this just represents a tick over, some activity, and not much else. Hopefully this is the springboard to another fight in 2021, because if this ends up being the sum total of Hrgovic's 2021, very disappointing. And I'll come to that, because it really is on his promoters, Matchroom and also Wasserman, to do better for him. But getting down to the press release here, Hrgovic and Radonjic, I should say, unbeaten, We'll just get to the quotes, actually. So Hrgovic, apparently saying this with a straight face, this is going to be a great fight between two top heavyweights. I have a lot of respect for Radonjic for taking this fight when many wouldn't. I'm excited to box at the Lovejoy-Esque Stadium, and bear in mind this is in Austria, this fight, so I think this draws on the influence of the Sauerland brothers, who obviously used to run Team Sauerland, but then they were bought out by Wasserman. Wasserman established Wasserman Boxing, of which the Sauerlands run for them. So Hrgovic on a co-promotional deal between Wasserman and Matchroom. So I would say their influence in getting this to, what was it, Klagenfurt, Austria. The hub of boxing, obviously, in Austria at this point. But he says, I expect a lot of Croatians to travel and support me. I look forward to fighting in front of the Austrian fans too. Radonjic has a good record. He has won all of his fights by knockout, but he has never fought anyone like me. On September 10, he will feel my power and the Montenegro hammer will fall. So he's never fought anyone like Hrgovic, because Radonjic has never fought anyone good, and we will get to that. Anyway, Radonjic says, Filip Hrgovic is a great fighter, and I'm really looking forward to fighting him. It will be an exciting fight between two big punching heavyweights. I know Hrgovic is a good boxer, but I'm confident I can beat him. I will take the IBF international title home with me. The Montenegro hammer is coming to win. So you've got Kalle Sauerland, or head of global boxing at Wasserman, saying, we're delighted to bring the Battle of the Giants to Lovejoy-Esque Stadium in Klagenfurt. This is going to be a sensational night of heavyweight action. Okay, that's almost making me feel sick saying that. Matchroom Sport chairman Eddie Hearn says, Filip Hrgovic, one of the most avoided men in the heavyweight division, and finding an opponent with the courage to step in the ring with him has been a challenge. Virtually the whole IBF top 15 turned down the opportunity to face him in a final eliminator. It's great to see the Croatian contender back in action against the undefeated Montenegro hammer, Marko Radonjic. Both men hold perfect records, and I'm expecting an explosive heavyweight fight in Austria on September 10. And the other guy, no idea who he is, but we won't bother with that comment. So they really are trying to dress this one up. You know, it's that whole sort of, trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Not a good fight, but it is activity for Hrgovic, who, as alluded to there, he has been avoided in some sense. He was meant to have an IBF final eliminator with Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter ducked that for a safe and easier journey at Triller for similar money, for a few fights, more guaranteed fights. But Hrgovic here has not been able to get an opponent for an IBF final eliminator. And actually, Hearn noted that it was nearly all of the top 15. So if it wasn't all, who were the ones that weren't asked or offered the fight? I mean, I'd be interested to know that, because we're left with this situation where you've got, supposedly, if they really believe in this guy and say he's going to be a future world champion, they just can't get him any meaningful fights right now. And for a guy who's in his prime, that is a travesty. And Wasserman and Matchroom need to do better. They should be doing better. They should stick their hand in their pocket and overpay someone. And I don't mean, guys like this that are effectively journeymen in waiting. because Marko Radonjic has got one of the most padded records I think I've seen in recent memory. And you may have seen from the title of the video, he's in a Lovejoy-Esque tune-up. 22-0, but let's have a look at that record. 31 years old, as we know, from Montenegro. He's residing in Germany. So number 229 in the world. So when you've got a record of more than 20 fights and you're still outside the top 200, that really just speaks volumes about your level of opposition that you've faced. And it has been poor. So we're just scrolling down here. So Ozkan Setankaya is actually one of the few guys that I've seen fight out of the list of journeymen that are on here. And most of these guys are journeymen he has been facing. And the further you go down, I mean, 23 losses, 22, 34, 35 losses, and it just continues, 25, 24, 20 losses. This guy has been, taking out street sweepers and bin men like there's no tomorrow. So this is a record that is padded and built for a payday. It's been built up carefully and crafted for the opportunity to cash out in a fight like this. And he's probably got paid way over the odds to what he's used to getting paid and would normally be getting paid. And even for a guy with this sort of record, based on the level of competition, I mean, obviously, it's the cash out fight that he's been looking for. So I'm not really expecting much at all. This is I've never seen this guy fight either. So, I mean, I can't really offer too much in terms of what are his, best attributes, the stuff that he's, not so good at, but based on the level of opposition and where he's at, 31 years old, no real proper step-ups of any note in his record, this Hrgovic fight is probably going to be Hrgovic by absolute murder. Hrgovic is going to win this one and win it brutally. So I get that they just had to get Hrgovic a fight, and this is the one that it has ended up working to. So, but I mean, it's not good. So even DAZN, see, here's the promo graphic that they've got. Very understated in their treatment of, in the comment here, Filip Hrgovic returns on September 10. That's the perfect amount of description for this fight. No more, no less, because it doesn't deserve it. Hrgovic himself is saying, I actually had to get this translated because it's, obviously I can't read, I'm assuming it's Croatian. So he says, finally a scheduled match after much anticipation. I'm back in the ring. Respect my opponent who accepted the match when many others didn't want to. September 10, see you in Austria. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's glad for the activity because here's a recent post. This was from a month ago, talking about he's been in a training camp for 8 months and still working hard. Nothing can break my spirit. Wait for my turn. But I'm sure that he wasn't waiting for Marko Radonjic, a 22-year-old journeyman in waiting who's about to get iced when they do fight. For all the talk from the press release talking it up, this is a terrible fight. It really is a terrible fight. It's a step backwards. It's not a good fight. But I get why they've had to make something. Get him in the ring, keep him active. Keep him more active than he has been because they haven't been able to get him fights. And this is really on Wasserman, so Kalle Sauerland, and Eddie Hearn of Matchroom to get him some fights. I mean, Eddie Hearn has a decent stable of heavyweights, and you can't tell me if they put up the right sort of money that they can't get someone to fight him. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, people should sign with Eddie Hearn, but you look at a guy like Hrgovic, who's in his prime. He's in the stable, he's in the tent, and he can't get a meaningful fight. This guy's knocking on the door of 30, and he's supposedly, meant to be a world champion in waiting, but they're not treating him like one the way that they're building and managing him. And that is on both Wasserman and Matchroom. They got to do better. It's been dreadful stuff. The last couple of years for Hrgovic has just felt like it's just drifted and gone nowhere. Anyway, he's confirmed in a fight, Hrgovic versus Radonjic. What do you make of it all? As you can tell, I'm not that impressed, but I understand he needed something, and this is the something. Hopefully, on to the next one soon after that. Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.